Hi everybody, today I am going to be looking at the productivity planner. This is actually created by Intelligent Change. I'll say up front, they sent this to me for review, but as usual, I will be giving you my honest, uncensored opinions. This is made by the same people who make the 5-minute journal, which I used to use, and keeping up with those sorts of those kinds of things has never been my strong suit. So not the journal's fault, 'twas my fault. And the interesting thing is I don't even have it anymore, but this has like a similar feel to it, like production wise. So I'm interested in it. So before we flip through it, let's talk about a bit of the info that there is on the website. It is $30. It is an undated daily and weekly planner with 6 months worth of daily planning. So I'm assuming that that's like what, 360, no, that's not right. 30 times 6, yeah, like 180 days, I'm assuming, is about, I can math, you guys, I swear. And then it has a cotton cover, like a cotton fabric cover, like it's a hard cover, but it's like got that linen-y cotton feel to it. And then it comes with 2 bookmarks. On the website, there wasn't a lot of info about like paperweight or any of those sorts of things. I'll also add up front that they did give me a discount code in case you guys want to order from them. You get, use the code IChange for a 10% discount on your first order. It is not a affiliate code, it's just a coupon code. I don't get anything from it, but I'm just letting you know. So if you want to get this, you could get 10% off of this, so it'd be $27 instead of $30. All right, let's take a look at it. So here is the book. The cover is black with gold foil. And the reason I mention it's black is because I'm also noticing the lighting in here is a little odd because of where I'm having to film right now. It says Productivity Planner. It's gold foil embossed, so it is like pressed into the thing. And then there's their little logo right here. The side says the Productivity Planner, and then the back has their logo and then the barcode on it, which is a sticker. I think this will come off if I peel it off, but I'm not gonna fuck with it right now. So when I open it, it does lie flat. It is a little like bumpy in the center, like a little chonky in the center, but it lies flat without even having to train it. So that is really nice. You open it up. The paper is a very kind of, again, it might be hard for you to see. It is definitely cream. It is not white. It's not even off-white. It's much more like a yellowish cream. So just bear that in mind. On the inside has their website and their logo, and then a spot for your nameplate and a reward if you would so like to give that for someone who finds your planner. Next page is just the title page. We've got like the information over here, and then the dedication to lifelong learners and doers. And then we get into the contents. This is really set up kind of like a book in the front from the Library of Congress, little situation stuff here to this contents page. 5 reasons you'll love the Productivity Planner. A sense of accomplishment, easy to use, you will get in flow, you will be inspired, and you will improve daily. And there's a bunch of information in here, but just thought I'd point that out. The concept, the idea is to use your time wisely. They've used a lot of methods to attempt that, but they wanted a tool that made them more productive while being enjoyable to use, so they made one. This is an elegant solution to the age-old time versus productivity conundrum, integrating hacks to help you achieve more with less. I'm not gonna read all of it. Live, love, laugh, leave a legacy. Get down a Hobby Lobby sign. Legendary to-do list tale. This is about Charles M. Schwab. Has been mentioned by several noted authors of his time. He was frustrated by his staff's lack of productivity. He promised to reward the person who increased productivity. So in his search, he came across Ivy Lee, who gave him a singular, life-changing piece of advice. I've heard about the Ivy Lee method before. Okay, so every evening before you finish work, write down 1, write down 3 to 5 things you plan to get done the next day. 2, rank them from highest to lowest priority. 3, in the morning, work on the task of highest priority. 4, only move on to task 2 when you've completed 1, and then repeat. So even if you just get 3 or 4 of the tasks done, That's fine because you're maintaining focus on the highest priority task. This is actually something I've been thinking about incorporating in my work life because I always have shit to do and I tend to gravitate towards the things that require the least amount of energy because I'm feeling so crappy, but are satisfying when I finish them, which are not always the top priority. Hacking productivity. This book is like full of like productivity guru speak. Like there's now Tim Ferriss is here. I'm gonna be doing a live stream soon on my thoughts about this sort of thing when I get back to regular live streaming with you guys. But in the meantime, let's see here. Here's his secret to productivity. 1, wake up 1 hour before you have to be at a computer screen. Email is the mind killer. I thought fear was the mind killer. Sorry, I enjoy Dune. Number 2, make a cup of tea and sit down with a pen, pencil, and paper. 3, write down the 3 to 5 things and no more that are making you the most anxious or uncomfortable. They're often things that have been punted from one day's to-do list to the next, to the next, to the next. Most important usually equals most uncomfortable or procrastinated upon. I feel like I just got called out right after what I just said. 4, for each item, ask yourself, if this was the only thing I accomplished today, would I be satisfied with my day? Will moving this forward make the other to-dos unimportant or easy to knock off later? Number 5, look at items that you've answered yes to for at least one of these questions. 6, block out 2 to 3 hours to focus on one of them for today. Let the rest of urgent, less important stuff slide. It will still be there tomorrow. 7, to be clear, block out at least 2 to 3 hours to focus on one task for today. This is one block of time. Cobbling together 10 minutes here and there to add up to 120 minutes does not work. 8, if you get distracted or start procrastinating, don't freak out and downward spiral. Just gently come back to your one to do. That's it. I feel like that could be less than 8 steps personally. Okay. How to decide on the most important thing. It's the same uncomfortable bit that they were talking about from Tim Ferriss. And then on the bottom here, it says when to write in the productivity planner. The ideal time to fill it out is at the beginning of each workday or at the end of the current workday. I actually have found in my time planning, doing daily planning for work, that I prefer to do my work planning the night before at the end of my workday, because then I am not anxious about the next day because I already know there's a plan in place, even if it changes. That's personally what's been working for me. And I say that with a grain of salt because I haven't really been work planning at all the last couple weeks because shit's been so all over the place with my office being out of commission. Tips for a better to-do list. The concept here, the core concept of the page is to keep it 5 items or fewer. That's not really gonna happen for me, but whatever. The art of writing your tasks. The questions are, is this concrete? Is it clearly actionable? Is there any ambiguity of how to get started? So the example they have is prepare slides for Monday's presentation. But when you get down to it, you have to actually search for the images, the quotes. So it should be brought down to smaller tasks. So task 1 could be rewritten as find necessary images, right? This is how you create flow. So you have a clearly defined task list. How do you actually get it done? Establish a distraction-free zone. Phone on airplane mode, disable all app notifications on your phone, log out of Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, etc. Use apps like Freedom that will turn off certain websites or internet. Listen to music that gets you into flow. Prevent interruptions by letting people know you'll be occupied with work. By your side, have some snacks or tea or coffee next to you, and always have water nearby. And make sure your children don't exist. All right, how to use the focus time method. We've previously based the productivity planner on the Pomodoro technique, but felt that restarting the timer after a distraction was a bit harsh. We created focus time to give you the flexibility to pause the timer when unavoidable distractions occur. They recommend starting with 30-minute sessions and experimenting with different work periods depending on your needs. So here's their thought for that focus time method. You start on a clear task that will take you at least 30 minutes to complete. Set a timer for 30 minutes. And then if you have an unavoidable distraction, pause the timer, take care of it, then come back and start the timer again from where you paused it. And then take a 5-minute break when the 30 minutes is up, and then repeat. Remember a few core concepts. 1 task per session. Start with a work period of 30 minutes and then experiment with longer time periods. How to use breaks effectively. Our performance depends on our ability to recover quickly. So just ideas on how to use your 5 minutes, like get some fresh air, splash some water on your face, get some tea. They are in love with tea in this book. Why is time tracking important? What gets measured gets managed. So they have a time tracker on their productivity planner. the most important task of the day, and then it's tracking 30-minute sessions. It says here that, so this is the tracker, right? The most important task, target number of sessions, actual number of sessions, and you have a spot to fill them in. But then they said there's 2 ways to track your time. The first way is the get it done method. So focus on getting the task done no matter how long it takes to complete. He writes in his task, write a job posting for an executive assistant. He thinks it'll take him 3 blocks of 30 minutes. So he wrote 3 in for the target. Dealt with the distractions. His phone's on airplane. He starts working in 30-minute sprints. The task is more involved and he is done in 4 sessions. So he shades in a circle for each focus time and then writes in how many the actual is done. So the core concept of the get it done method depends on task completion regardless of how much time it takes to complete. The flow tip is what happens if he's still in the zone at the end of the first 30 minutes and does not feel like taking a break. He asks himself, do I feel enough momentum to continue for another 30 minutes? If yes, he starts another session. If no, he takes a break. Then the other method is the hit the target method. So the idea is getting a fixed number of sessions finished during the day as part of a larger project. So the idea here is this person is going to take about 20 30-minute sessions to get research done for her thesis. Since this is not something she can do in a day, she breaks it down and commits to doing a certain number of sessions per day. So research articles for thesis, she says she can commit 4 sessions. She does her preparations, does all the things, logs out of Facebook, finishes her 4 sessions and is satisfied with the progress that she's made. She moves on to her next task, knowing that she will continue to do that the next day. The success in the hit the target method is dependent on whether you finish the number of sessions you allotted for the task, not the completion of the task, because it is not a project that has a definite endpoint. Typically, this method is used for larger tasks that require 6 or more focus time sessions or more than 3 hours. So for me, I'm just going to give an example here. I'm sorry if I keep going in and out of focus. It's the weird lighting right now. For me, the examples would be for the get it done method. It would be if I was creating like the next month's worth of downloads and things like that for my patrons. I have to do that every month. It's a recurring task, and it would probably take me about 3 of the 30-minute sessions, but that would be my estimate. But I would just want to do it until it was done because I know it won't take me 3 hours to do all of that, and I just want to take care of it. And once that would be done under the get it done method. For doing a big freelance project, like a bunch of work for Chrissy Ann Designs, it is definitely a multi-day project. So this would make more sense to use this method and say I want to give myself 4 30-minute sessions in a day and just keep doing that until it's done. So I actually think this is something I'm going to incorporate into my work life. What if you don't want to work in focus time sessions? They said here, no problem. As long as you stick with completing your most important task before moving to task 2 and complete task 2 before moving to task 3, you will begin to create flow. How to use the productivity score. At the end of every day, ask yourself this question: how productive was I on a scale of 1 to 5? The trick is to know what the answer to the question, what does a score of 5 look like for me today? And then if today was a 1, what would I accomplish? Now you have your range. So here's how to use the planner. Less is more. Write down the most important task of the day, and then write any other tasks of the day, and you're ranking them in the Ivy Lee method. So most important tasks, secondary tasks of importance, additional tasks, and then you write down how many time spots you think each one will take. And that to me is interesting because that means that you're really thinking about how much time you have. I tend to be an overscheduler, so maybe that's something to think about. Once you've got the tasks written in, and they're concrete, they're actionable, you estimate your number of focus time sessions, then you start your focus time sessions, you finish the most important task of the day, move on to the next task, and then continue on that method. And then at the end day, you check in with your score and with your mood, and then before the day ends or the next morning, fill in the tasks for your next work day. So it seems like this is really meant for work, not just for your regular everyday life, although you probably could do it that way too. And then here's a commitment page where you commit to writing in it for at least 5 days in a row. Why it's important: if I finish this, if I finish 5 days of working with this planner, I will reward myself with blank. If I don't finish 5 days of writing this planner, I will promise to blank, and I will do the following things to ensure I use it every day. This is very similar to what they do in the 5-minute journal. And then it just goes into the planner with a little bit for the weekly planning here. So we'll start looking at the actual planner points here. Sorry, it took so long, I guess. Note that the pages are numbered. So for the weekly planning page, you get the week of blank, your intention for the week, set the direction and tone for the week with this intention, 5 most important tasks of the week. If these are the only things you completed during the week, you'd be satisfied. 5 lines, 5 check boxes. Then you have another 5 tasks for your secondary tasks of importance. Do these only after you finish these. And then additional tasks, again, another 5 if you finish both sets of these. On the cream paper, it's got a kind of a brownish light gray for the type, and then like a kind of terracotta-ish color, kind of brownish terracotta color for the other type. Pretty easy to read though. Now we're into your weekly planning, and it gives you get a Monday through Friday with your week, and then you get weekends on one page, which I fucking hate. I think that this is meant to be a work planner for people in like office settings, so it makes a little bit more sense, but I still don't love that. So every day you get a quote on the top. Just can't with those, but that's just me. And then there's a date on the top because it's undated, but it does give you like each week. You have your most important task of the day, 2 secondary tasks of importance, 2 more additional tasks, leaves you space basically for the 5 tasks with your target, your 30-minute blocks, and your actual for each of them. And then a section for notes. And then at the bottom, you have your mood tracker and your rate your day. It's the same for every day of the week, except the quote changes. And then on the weekends, you get an important task of the day, 2 secondary tasks of importance, a smaller notes section, and then your mood and your rate your day. And that is the same for both Saturday and Sunday on one page. And then you have your weekly review, which has a spot for your weekly wins, what tasks were not completed, recommit to doing these next week, what have you learned, and next week. And then you're into your next, you have a quote, and then you're into your next week. And then the whole thing just goes and repeats with a notes page, a weekly review, weekly planning, and then you're into it. And that looks like that one big quote right there at the beginning of like the full planner is the only big quote that there is. So then you get through your whole 6 months worth of planning. You get towards the end, this is page 251, so this is 2 weeks out, and it's a reminder to order another planner before the end of it. I always appreciate that when planners do that, they give you a coupon code too. Like, I'm always like, okay, let me rephrase. I don't appreciate it when they put it on my monthly calendars, of which there aren't any in this planner. I don't appreciate it then. Having a separate page, I'm a little less hateful of it. Then when you get to the end, there's a productivity checkpoint. You're supposed to go back, flip through your planner, see if there's patterns emerging with the way you use time, the way that you procrastinate, whatever, what circumstances were there, and then celebration that you got through the 6 months. A few notes pages, then we get to the end, and there is a barcode, and that's the end of it. There's also 2 stretchy kind of cotton bookmarks. So that's the whole planner. Now I know we spent a lot of time kind of going over the method of this, but I think that because normally I'm like, oh, don't tell me how to use your planner, but because this is really meant to be like a productivity tool, I thought it was really important to kind of go over how they were using it. I found some stuff in here that I might actually use, and there's some other things that are just not things I'm a fan of. I really struggle with this idea of productivity being God. Like there's a level of that. And like I said, I'm gonna be doing some live streams coming up. But on the same note, it would be helpful for me to utilize some of these productive tools in order to make the most of the time I do have, because I am sick. So often things that I have a lot to do and I don't always have the time to do them because I'm not just because I'm busy, which I am, but also because I'm sick. And so I need more downtime. So I can see aspects of this I would want to adapt, but as an overall planner, this is not necessarily something that I think I would use because it's not, I don't think it'd be great for decorating. It's really not set up for decorating. So if you are a decorative planner, this will likely not be for you. But that's okay, we're not all decorative planners. But also, it's just like the focus on it's a little intense for me, if that makes sense. Let's do a pen test. I don't anticipate this paper is going to be the greatest paper in the world. It's very smooth feeling. It actually kind of a little bit reminds me of the old Tomo River paper, although it's not quite that smooth, but we'll see how it does with various pens and markers. it does show the type through. That's why I'm not convinced this is going to be the best for various markers, but there's not a problem with that because then you just figure out what works for you. So what do I have? I have a Pentel Energel RTX gel pen with the 07 needle tip. I've got a Paper Mate Liquid Flare fine liner, a Tombow dual brush marker, a Zig clean color dot pen, and a zebra mild liner. So the paper is smooth, but it didn't do that thing where the moisture of the marker sits on top. It's soaked right in, which makes me think this is gonna be a bleed fest. But it also means that it's not necessarily something that's gonna be smearing all over the place. So there's like, let me see here. The fine liner is probably gonna smear. It's a pretty gooey fine liner, but like tiny bit of smearing. So it could be lefty friendly. Oh yeah, this is not marker friendly paper. So there is ridging and you will get shadowing just like you do with the type with both of the pens, although there was no ridging with the fine liner. I've got shadowing at the, like with the Tombow. If I had pressed down any harder, it probably would have bled through. The light press down of the Zig, because I pressed down light and then harder, the light is only shadowing a little bit. The harder press down does have some bleed through. And then the highlighter bled through. I did a single pass and then a double pass, and even the single pass bled through. So I would just be very careful with this paper if you are into markers. But if you're using a gel pen, and you don't mind shadowing, this could actually have that very satisfying, like slightly used feel, which I do like from time to time. Not the best for, like I said, not the best for decorative and like colorful stuff, but should be fine with shadowing for regular writing. I've already given my overview of this and what I was thinking. I said that already, but like what I will say overall is that I could see this being very helpful for certain people. I don't think the planner itself would be super helpful for me, but I do think, especially the way that this time tracks, the get it done method versus the, what did they call it? The hit your target method, I think. So I feel like that was the biggest, yeah, hit the target method. That specifically, I feel like it's not something I am unfamiliar with. I have done work like that before, but I think having it laid out in that such a way was actually really helpful to me. And like I said, while this planner itself is really not for me, I could see it being very helpful for somebody else. So I will be giving this away. In like late August, I plan to start doing a bunch of planner giveaways with a bunch of the ones I have collected. So stay tuned for that if you are interested in this. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on it in the comments below, or any other recommendations for planners you'd like me to take a look at. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, my friends, peace.